Guys, this is After Forever, Who I Am, Florin Iraine Jansen. Nailed it. Let's do it. Ooh, love the audio quality. I do too, Focus. Hold up. So it's like so okay, so first of all, yeah, the audio quality is crap, whatever. But it's so hard to tell the difference between who is singing and who's not. I mean, it's very, very close. But this reminds me of kind of the topic we brought up at this last clinic on Sunday. Of kind of what goes into the singing voice. So I'm gonna be that guy, and I'm gonna bring it up because, you know, they're blood sisters, right? They're blood sisters. They're both really amazing singers. They both work professionally in this genre as singers, and they've clearly both put in, you know, the work to do that at the highest level. And so I want to bring up this one thing real quick. So it's kind of small, but what you can see is this is kind of the pyramid of what makes your singing voice work. We talked about this in depth on Friday. You can go watch the VOD, or Sunday rather. But basically, the base of the pyramid is understanding your instrument. That comes from taking lessons, spending time experimenting with your voice, and then a huge percentage, like 55-60% of what goes into your singing voice is practice, right? But now we have this chunk up here, this 20% chunk. This is what I want to talk about right here. Anatomy, right? Anatomy is something that really is vital to the singing voice. It's both how you treat the anatomy on a day-to-day basis, staying hydrated, not overusing it, but it's also what you're born with. And that's what I want to talk about here, because your singing voice is very similar. Your speaking voice and everything is very similar to the people related to you, basically. You know, genes are a big part of creating that anatomy. These vocal folds are very small, but they're very specific, right? And that specificity of anatomical makeup is what defines a singing voice. So it makes sense that two sisters, though they may practice differently in different amounts in different ways, and they understand probably relatively similar, but still different mental conceptions about their instrument, the anatomy is the same. So what you end up with, you know, if you're following this breakdown, you end up with a, 80% similar voice. And this is what, 2% talent. Keep it there. I don't need to go into that. 80% similar voice. If they practice the same and they think the same way about their voice, which is unlikely, but the principle is there. And you can hear it that way too. When we keep this going, you can hear that 80% similarity. And you can hear that 20% difference as well. Well, at least, listen and just tell me you can't hear that, right? they have that same chesty richness in their voice. They have that same depth of color, right? Yeah, absolutely, Mike. Like, and I wanted to preface everything by saying, like, these are clearly two people who spend a lot of time and effort and devotion on their voices. So nothing to say that their anatomy is what got them to this point. But the similarity in their voices is no coincidence, right? They're both, and I'm sure they've discussed singing. They're sisters, and they're both professional singers. So their understandings of the instrument is probably, relatively similar compared to two people who have never talked about singing together. It's so fascinating. It's so fascinating hearing that similarities. Floor has a little bit more, what I would say is bite in the sound, a little bit more, what I would imagine is more sympathetic resonance in the mask. Yes, and so that's probably what you hear Hengedi as warmer, right? I would refer to it as brighter, but, difference in vocabulary, right? But yes, they sound like sisters, they look like sisters, bottom line, But if we wanted to dig in, Irene has that, she has that depth, that same depth in the sound, which correlates to, the size of the vocal folds, the cavity she's expanding, and none of that's possible, especially without practice, right? The size and shape of the instrument determine the sound. The skill of the musicians determines the quality of the music. Absolutely. And so we just talked about like 80% of what happens is the stuff you do to your voice, the way you understand it, the way you practice, the amount of effort and time you put into refining your singing voice. But then there's that chunk that's reliant on anatomy. And this is an amazing artifact of that. It's so cool. You should study the genetics of singing. Yes, you definitely should do that, Scoots McDoots. I think that's an amazing, if you can track the vocal development, people who have, famous singers who have parents who are famous singers or who have kids who are famous singers and track the acoustic similarities or siblings in this case, right? So fascinating. And then we get into like singing eugenics. That's dark. Glad you're here. Yes, Sprawless, I know you love Pink. And so, I mean, it's no surprise that the daughter of a famous singer who's even just 9 years old sings really well, right? This is a freaking sweet duet because their voices... That's really funny, Prima Luce. You're imagining them as kids and Floor and Irene going, you got our uncle's big mouth, and then they get into their singing careers, and she's like, no fair, you got our uncle's big mouth. But yeah, I mean that's the impact of anatomy. But so the shape of the vocal tract, which is the kind of everything above the throat, basically everything in the head, that yes affects the voice. But you're still not going to... It's literally the anatomy of the vocal folds that will make a huge difference. And the internal anatomy will be very similar between them, right? Will Freya be a singer or a drummer? What if she's both, Janelle? What if she's both? Oh, vocal pedigree, yeah. Might be slight... Might be slightly different from singing Epigenics. But yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, my bad, Mike. You're right. But yeah, singing Pedigree, it's a thing. It's a thing, right? Because it's like the color of your hair. It's like the color, it's like the, you know, the kind of nose you have. It's everything, right? It's very, very cool. Yeah, Mike, I prefer that definition. Thank you for bringing that in. Oh, man. Freya will be the Phil Collins of metal. I'll put my money on that. Put $10 on that. Taking bets. But all's that to say, guys, I mean, nothing can take away. With all that being said, you know, we spend all day on this stream listening to just fantastic singers who've put in the work, and it shows. These are two singers who put in the work, and it shows. And then we have that little crossover of their, you know, similar anatomy to thank for their voices being really, really, really similar. Yeah, Floor fan, you always miss the Floor stuff. Very funny. Dude, like, you close your eyes, and it's just like there are two floors. One is singing higher, one is singing lower. But they both have that depth of color that's so... It's so telling of the Jansen sound, right? The Jansen sound. We listen to people, you know, when Floor sings with someone like Marco, who couldn't have more of a different voice, we get value in that duet because of the contrast. But when these two voices come together, we get value because of the similarity. Right? This is from 2007. I want to get into that choreography because that's pretty sick. Maybe DD. At least the music sounds better than the spoken quality. That's crazy. That's awesome. What a sweet, sweet video. Whew. That was great. Hey guys, since I know a lot of you are musicians or artists and many of you are working to become professionals in that area, I actually wanted to introduce you to a surprisingly amazing company that actually reached out to me recently. This is Lander. It's your one-stop platform for everything you need to become a self-produced musical artist of any genre. When you sign up, you automatically get access to their huge library of sounds, automated mastering software, and a huge network of other professionals that you can collaborate with. I actually just signed up as an official voice coach and singer for hire on the platform, and I'm looking forward to meeting and working with other professionals from all over the world. As you can see here, it's basically everything you need to start making, publishing, and living off of your own music. Everyone from beginner musicians to professional artists have something they can get out of this platform. I think the starting price is around $10 a month, and I can tell you already that it's worth it. I plan on using everything Lander has to offer to make my own lo-fi opera album in the near future, as well as using the network to continue my work on some of the covers I've been working on recently as well. I want to give a huge shout out to Anthony over at Lander for letting me try out the platform, since the potential here for musicians, and specifically for you guys as part of this community, is absolutely immense. Anyway, if you're interested in trying out Lander, I've put an affiliate link down below that would give me a small kickback should you choose to subscribe to the platform. If you have any questions about Lander or singing reactions or singing in general, you can always find me at the Big Brain Singer Discord server, discord.gg/BigBrainSinger, where myself and the other Big Brain Singer coaches will be happy to help you as best we can. Ciao!